Hello, magnificent human beings. My name is Landon Slaughter, and here we do yoga. We talk about life and we focus on personal growth. You are in the right place, capable and strong. What are we doing today? Well, it is Half Moon Ardha Chandrasana. Now, this pose has a lot to do with balance and a lot to do with taking your time, many things. So if you are interested in diving more into this posture, please roll out your mat and I will roll the intro screen. Thank you all so much for being here. You may need a block for half moon pose. You may not. So if you need one, grab one. If you don't, that's cool. Now, half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana, is a lot of balance. And I think the biggest thing that happens is we tend to just try to rush into this pose way too quick. So really taking your time, and the tip I always give is staying behind your balance. You know, sometimes we are balancing and then we know that we're going to fall out of balance and we make these quick jumps and quick moves. So just take your time and have some patience. Now, I like to get into this posture from two ways. One is just from forward fold, and the other is from Warrior 3. So kind of look at this from a couple of different ways. So first of all, forward fold. You're here in your forward fold and you're just hanging out, right? Knees are bent a little bit, spine nice and long as you can make it. And then you have your hands underneath your face, right? So I always, let's say if we're gonna, start with our right hand down. So I always tell folks to put that right hand directly underneath your face. And then walk it out, up and to the right, a couple of hand lengths. So up and to the right, a couple of hand lengths. Now, if you're on those fingertips to hold you, that's fine. If you're super flexible and you can bring your palm all the way to the mat, that's fine. But I think for most folks, it's either going to be fingertips or block. So whichever one you like. Okay, holding here, left hand, left hip. Cool. All right. And then find your balance on your right foot and extend that left leg towards the back. Now you may just be right here, you may be right here with this knee bent, however you like, and you're just holding here. Okay, so this is when the balance thing starts to come into play, right? Of if you start to come up too much, you just fall out. And if you look, here's your two balance points, right? Because if you come too far back, you're going to put a lot of weight in that hand. If you're coming too far forward, you're going to put a lot of weight in your foot. So what I would say is pay very close attention to how much weight you're putting in your foot and how much weight you're putting in your hand, because as you tilt back and forth, you're going to know. So think about these two balance points here and then how much weight you're putting in each one. So if you're holding here, then you will slowly begin to stack your shoulders and stack your hips. And slowly is the key, right? Taking your time, stacking your shoulders, stacking your hips. You may need to move, this hand out, up, around somewhere. You may realize that, oh, this is way too shallow and you need to come up here a little bit. Wherever it is for you is cool. So you're holding here as you're stacking your shoulders, stacking your hips, and then that movement could take you 1 second. It could take you 30 seconds. So being very conscious and slow as you stack your shoulders, stack your hips. always paying attention to the balance between what's in that hand and what's in that foot, right? Eventually, you can bring that hand on up. Now, that's the biggest thing, is the time, honestly. I think the slower we get into this, the longer you're going to stay into it. And we have all these things going on of, okay, we're stacking our shoulders. We want to make sure that back leg is lifted, and we want to do all these things. Well, again, really pay attention to that balance point between your foot and your hand. How much weight are you putting in each? It should be relatively equal. Honestly, you're probably supposed to put a little bit more weight in your foot than you are your hand. But for now, just really finding that balance between each one. So if you have a perfect distribution of weight between your foot and your hand, then you're pretty steady, right? So as you stack your shoulders, stack your hips, you're going to notice you want to favor one or the other. Well, do whatever you need to do to not favor one or the other, and just slowly come up. Keep thinking about the distribution of weight here. And I would say don't even worry about stacking your shoulders and stacking your hips. Like, that's going to happen naturally. You want to do that, right? So during that process, think about the weight distribution between these 2 points. Strong foundation and stacking your shoulders, stacking your hips. Same thing as you lift this hand. Setting it on down. And I would also think about coming into this from a different way, from Warrior 3. This is a lot more challenging, but it is fun, right? So it's worth a look. So if you're in that Warrior 3, maybe you're in this 45-degree angle, maybe you're in that perfect capital T with that hip nice and square, biceps by your ears. Wherever you are. I'm trying to rush things. See, this is what happens. You rush things and you can't balance. So you're in your Warrior 3. Then you can bring your hands to your hips and drop that hand down, right? But don't just drop it down. You want to have that body awareness to slowly place your hand on the mat. So from Warrior 3, slowly placing that hand on the mat, and then finding that weight distribution, that weight balance, and coming on up. Excellent work. Another thing I would think about in your Ardha Chandrasana is that lifted leg, the one that's up. We have a tendency to kind of, just settle it down a little bit. Try to lift it and spiral it open just a little bit. Not a lot. I'm talking a few degrees, because that spiraling open of that leg, those muscles that you activate to do that really help to kind of lift and open and get that whole opening feeling in this posture. So it's almost like a hip opening from the front in a weird tree pose. It's like a sideways tree, but not at all. That probably didn't help at all. But what I'm saying is when you have this leg lifted, don't have a sad leg down here. You want to have it lifted, and then instead of these toes pointed down, you want to gently spiral that leg open. So it's very subtle, right? Instead of here, it's here, here, here. So again, not sad, but gently spiral it open. You don't want to flare your foot, all the way out or something. That's ridiculous. Just a little bit. It's all about that body awareness. It's all about taking your time, slowing things down, and just enjoying all those little moments of your practice. So that is your standing half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Standing half moon, yes. Also, half moon, this pose gets confused a lot with, this one, because in the Bikram tradition, I believe they call that half moon as well. So nonetheless, this pose today, Ardha Chandrasana, thank you so much for watching, and from my heart to yours, namaste.